In 1986, Chernobyl Reactor 4 operators ran a safety test. To ensure turbines kept pumps running during a power loss, they disabled the emergency cooling system. They could do this because the switch was in their room, and nobody had authority to say no. A machine capable of poisoning a continent had been built with its protective circuits wired into the same control room as its accelerator pedal. At 23 minutes past 1 in the morning, the reactor exploded. There is a familiar way of talking about the loss of political freedom. We say democracies are fragile, that bad men undermine institutions, and that citizens must be vigilant. This story has the shape of a fable, and it predicts nothing. It tells you to watch for the wolf, but it is silent on the question of why the fence has a gate in it that opens from the inside. The historian Peter Kreiter approaches this from a different angle. He discards political philosophy to examine the collapse of restraint, the way a safety engineer approaches a wrecked machine. In the discipline of functional safety, engineers study why complicated things break. They don't ask who was at the controls. They ask which protective circuit was supposed to trip and why it failed to do so. The structure determines what is possible. The person merely determines who attempts it. When a machine has no independent protection, a series of defensible individual decisions can produce an indefensible outcome. But an engineer traces the wires to see what carries current. The Inspector General is appointed by the executive. The prosecutor heads a department of the executive. Even the court's orders are physically enforced by officers who report to the department they are supposed to be restraining. This is a single point of failure. The oldest rule in functional safety is that protection must be independent of control. Because every link in the enforcement chain passes through the entity being restrained, the restraint operates only with the cooperation of the restraint. If the design is this vulnerable, why hasn't the building burned down? Most states with this wiring go decades without a seizure of power. What holds the system together is the settled expectation that officials will comply. We have spent 2 centuries interpreting excellent manners as engineering. This creates a latent fault. Imagine a pressure relief valve that hasn't been moved in 30 years. Every annual inspection records it as functioning because it looks correct, but the internal spring seized years ago. Because the valve has never been exercised, it produces the same reading as a perfectly maintained one. The fault remains invisible until the moment of the demand. Political norms behave the same way. When a custom is finally violated and no mechanism engages to stop it, we discover that the limit was only a habit wearing the costume of a rule. The discovery takes a single afternoon, and it cannot be undone. Our confidence in these institutions is derived entirely from the absence of demand. We are relying on a valve that nobody has lifted in 200 years. A second failure mode appears at Fukushima Daiichi. The plant had 13 emergency diesel generators, duplicated for redundancy, but 12 were installed at the same elevation. When the sea came over the wall, it put out all 12 in the same minute. This is a common cause failure. 2 safety devices are not independent if they share a manufacturer, a power supply, or a physical location. The branches of a government share a similar elevation. They are staffed by the same professional class and all operate on the same design assumption, that the other branches will behave as they always have. Because every layer is holding up the others, a shift in expectations propagates through all of them at the speed of news. A single wave can drown the entire constitutional order at once. To understand where the structure actually holds, Krieger distinguishes between 2 kinds of limits, declared and measured. A declared constraint is a rule written on paper. Its operation depends on a decision by the party being constrained. A Bill of Rights or a court order is a declared constraint. It only bites if the person it targets chooses to honor the text. A measured constraint is a fact that bites whether or not anyone consents. A market crash, a failed harvest, or a foreign army makes a course of action expensive regardless of what the law says. An institution is bound in proportion to the cost of circumventing it, not 1 gram more. This leaves us with a very short list of practical advice. Disregard what the founding document promises, count the exits, and measure the delay before reality sends its invoice. We live inside a machine where the protective circuits are voluntary, and the emergency shutdown switch has always been located on the operator's desk.